Mercury is going retrograde in the sign of Virgo on Wednesday, August 23rd, beginning the 3-week period we have all come to know and love. Prepare for miscommunications, missed connections, and things or people from the past coming back into your life, especially between August 23rd and September 3rd, while Mercury and Venus will be both retrograde at the same time. Time to go within and ask some important questions. So buckle up and let's take a closer look. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive astrology. If you enjoy my content, don't forget to like or comment, subscribe, and press that notification bell. You can also buy me a coffee to say thank you if you feel so inclined. To work with me, check out the links down below. Visit my website. That's where you can book a reading, and you can also find my full magical candle and oil selection. As you know, I work with most benevolent moments to capture their energy, to bring you the creations that can help navigate the more difficult transits and improve some of your natal positions in your chart. Specifically with Mercury retrograde coming up, I highly recommend my Mercury in Virgo candle or oil because Mercury will be retrograding in Virgo, and that candle, those candles and oils were created with Mercury direct, so it has all the full potential of helping you avoid the glitches, miscommunications, and difficulties. So check out my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com, for that. So Mercury retrograde, right? Many of you are very familiar with this, but in general, Mercury is the planet that rules the 3 C's, right? It rules communication, commerce, and commuting. So when Mercury goes retrograde, those 3 C's can get turned into O's or D's or W. Basically, they get a little bit confusing, right? But in general, the retrograde cycle is the time when the planet appears to be moving backwards in the sky. The planets never really move backwards. They only appear to move backwards due to the difference of speeds between the planet and the Earth. We perceive them as moving backwards. But when planets go retrograde, we tend to be more introspective. It takes us longer to act. We tend to second guess ourselves. We tend to second guess the topics connected to the house that the planet is retrograding in. This is not the worst Mercury retrograde ever because Mercury will be retrograding in Virgo, the sign it rules and the sign it's exalted in, right? So out of all the possible retrogrades, this is like the best option. It's basically like you are in your own home where you know where things are, but you're just tidying up and cleaning, right? So we will benefit from all the Virgo energy of being analytical, being detail-oriented, being perfectionist. It's a lovely time to rethink, rewrite, re-edit, and redo, especially when it comes to Virgo topics, right? Of course, based on the house in your chart, it will be different for you. Let's say I'm a Libra rising, for me it's 12th house. So like 12th house being the place of spirituality, imagination, mental health. What are my protocols, or what are your protocols if you are a Libra rising around those topics? Have you been very kind of good about your mental health, or have you let certain things slip, and how can you become better about them? So some of the general things are definitely reviewing your habits and your kind of strengths and weaknesses surrounding health, work, service to other people, which is what Virgo is so good at. You may be rethinking things, you may be fine-tuning things, perhaps finding better ways to do things, right? Like Virgo really likes perfecting things and kind of doing things a certain way, but then trying to streamline and trying to do the everyday better. We may find ourselves communicating in less words, but communicating with more care, or our words will carry more weight. And just the overall kind of themes of retrograde, right? Like looking back in order to find answers, looking at your original motivation, at your original desire, and trying to get rid of clutter. Let's say you have always wanted to be an actor, but you wanted to star in your own show, right? So instead of writing your own show, you've been taking a lot of different roles and maybe acting in projects that are not quite close to heart. So Mercury retrograde could be a reminder to look back at what has once inspired you and perhaps bring that back into your life. The retrograde starts on August 23rd at 21 degrees 51 minutes Virgo, and it ends on September 15th, my birthday. How exciting, at 8 degrees Virgo. So if you have any planets between 8 degrees and 21:51 Virgo, you will feel it. My sun is at 21:46 Virgo, so it's basically stationing right on my sun. Let's see how that will affect me. Hopefully it's going to bring some insights about self-understanding. But if you have planets between 8 and approximately 22 degrees Virgo, Pisces, Sag, or Gemini, you're likely to feel the retrograde even more. You may be asking questions connected to the planets that are getting aspected, right? Like if it's your sun, it's your core identity, it's your life purpose, it's your goals, dreams, and wishes. It's how you present yourself to the world. So when Mercury is turning around on your sun, asking all these questions about who am I, what am I here for, what am I interested in shining would be important. If it's your Venus, then you're asking questions about love. If it's your Saturn, you're asking questions about duties and your legacy, etc. Shadow period started on August 4th, and it will last from September 15th until September 30th. So we get about 2 weeks on each side for the shadow period, and shadow period tends to bring up the topics. So the things that we're already thinking about right now could be really significant for the retrograde. And then during the shadow period on the second half of it, that's where the clarity comes in, and that's where the solutions tend to appear a lot more kind of without forcing and pushing them. Some of the important dates are September 4th and 25th. They're actually quite good dates. Mercury will trine Jupiter, and we already had Mercury trine Jupiter on August 9th. So if you've been brainstorming anything, if you've been thinking about things, if you've been having interesting conversations around August 9th, expect them to come back again into your life on September 4th and the 25th. And the 4th is the retrograde part, and the 25th is the direct part. So needing to bring those topics back and perhaps find solutions. But in general, Mercury in a trine to Jupiter feels like thinking of how you grow, thinking of how you pursue projects connected to Jupiter. So maybe rethinking education matters, travel matters, business, social, teaching, education, and writing matters. Those can be all very important at this time. And then of course, Mercury Cazimi, September 6th at 13 degrees 36 minutes Virgo, happens at 7:08 a.m. Eastern time. And Mercury Cazimi is the time when Mercury conjoins the Sun, which is the turning point of any retrograde, and that could be your opportunity to find some answers, to figure things out, right? Could be a very insightful, enlightening time, because once again, Mercury is in the sign it rules and in the sign it's exalted in, so you do have that extra power of rational, clear, analytical thinking. Doesn't have to be. I don't feel as worried about this retrograde because, like I said, it's Mercury in its home sign, just sort of shuffling things around. Instead of Mercury being in the sign it's less strong in. So the usual things, right? Check your messages, check that you have technology organized, get a phone case for your phone, get extra batteries, get extra light bulbs, order your packages 2 weeks ahead of time, which is, I should do that. Take care of your paperwork. Make sure everything is filed ahead of time. Avoid major decisions. Avoid cutting your hair super short, even though Venus rules beauty, but Mercury retrograde could also be the time when the decisions you make in the spur of a moment end up backfiring. So it's best to be patient and do not necessarily, if you can, postpone starting websites, starting writing projects. It's better, the time is better spent between August 23rd and September 15th. It's better spent polishing, rewriting, re-editing already existing projects. And doesn't mean you cannot do anything during the retrograde, right? Like, but just be warned, be extra cautious, be extra patient. You know, I'll be traveling back from France during the retrograde, so it's not like I'm not gonna do anything that is not recommended, but it's just better to allow extra time. If you know you have a flight at 3 o'clock, maybe leave the house at like 11 instead of leaving it at 1 or 2. So let's take a look at the 12 signs and see what kind of things you'll be rethinking, rewiring, reviewing. If you are an Aries rising, Mercury is about to go retrograde in your 6th house of health, work, service, everyday life, right? How do you move through your day? Do you take good care of yourself? Do you exercise regularly, or is it more spontaneous? Do you tend to overindulge? Are there any habits that you can streamline, as well as work routines? What does your desk look like, right? What does your space look like? What does your phone or email situation look like? So how can you streamline and iron things out in order to make things smoother? And the trine to Jupiter that happens on September 4th and then again on the 25th in the 2nd house makes me feel like you're working on streamlining things in order to bring more confidence into your life, as well as bring more financial stability. So perhaps you're trying to have better resources and you need to get rid of wasting money. So maybe you need to cancel some subscriptions, right? Or reorganize things in order to allow more space for having a business potentially. If you are a Taurus rising, Mercury is about to go retrograde in the 5th house, and here you're looking at your relationship to fun. So there might be certain habits, certain expenses potentially, or even certain ways you have fun or not have fun that need your attention. So maybe you have a bad habit where you've been going out every Friday night and you feel like it's preventing you from living your best life and having, I don't know, maybe you've been having hangovers, so it's time to rethink that. There's also a possibility that you haven't had a lot of fun and you've been too focused on work or too focused on creative projects or children. So like needing to have a better balance between work and fun is present here. Exes might come back into your life. You may watch out for, restarting toxic relationships. I would never recommend that. There's a trine to Jupiter in the 1st house on September 4th and 25th. And the trine to Jupiter to me suggests that maybe you felt like you've lost the spark. Maybe you felt like you don't feel as inspired anymore. So the trine to Jupiter in the 1st is very much like, how can you revive or bring back your inner child? How can you make them happy? How can you, maybe it's about taking a look at your childhood journal. Maybe it's about picking up a story that you've always wanted to tell and writing about it. Maybe it's about connecting with kids and spending more time enjoying yourself in the company of the youngsters, right? So finding inspiration, finding faith in yourself and your creative abilities, and perhaps addressing some romantic matters or some children related matters is the theme of this retrograde for you. If you are a Gemini rising, the retrograde is affecting your 4th house, and 4th house is the place of home, family, living situation. So when Mercury is retrograde here, you may temporarily feel uncertain about where home is and what makes you feel comfortable and secure. Maybe certain matters connected to real estate are slowing down. Maybe you're dealing with some kind of glitches in the renovation project you've been taking on. there may be delays, right? Connected to moving, connected to your home and family situation. You may also be, I think one lovely way to handle this retrograde has to do with decluttering your home and perhaps getting rid of old things and kind of looking back, perhaps thinking of what you once wanted your home to be, what you once wanted it to look like, and perhaps getting it in the state. And reassessing your relationships with family members, rethinking the types of dynamics you want to have with family members, and maybe even like traveling back to see family or trying to figure out the questions connected to travel, right? You may have to learn to be more flexible as Mercury trines Jupiter in your 12th house. That could actually be a really lovely transit. So that happens on September 4th and then again on September 25th. Perhaps suggesting some answers to your home, family, living situation problems that you're facing or struggling with. But take some time to just reconnect with what makes you feel secure, what makes you feel happy, what makes you feel at home, right? And that doesn't have to be a physical space. That could literally be a practice, taking a bath, lighting some candles, like creating cozy and comfortable environment around yourself, something that you feel grounded in when things are out of your control, perhaps. Let me know how this resonates down below. If you are a Cancer rising, Mercury is about to begin a 3-week retrograde in your 3rd house. And Mercury retrograde in the 3rd house tend to be the most retrograde of all retrogrades because 3rd house rules communication, transportation, schedule, everyday life, interactions you have while exploring your neighborhood, right? So when Mercury is retrograding here, there might be more glitches. Your car may break down, your phone may break down, your technology may need another attention. The theme of this retrograde to me is like, how are you going about your day? How are you approaching any writing projects, any interactions you have with other people, your business strategy, your schedule, right? Like what needs to be released, what needs to be removed from your schedule, from your interactions? How can your communication be streamlined in order to have a better flow? Because chances are there might be certain time wasters or certain commitments you have that are not serving you. And so around this time, you may be rethinking that. You may also be addressing immediate relationships, like relationships with your neighbors or your siblings can be a bit questionable right now, and feeling like you're not just streamlining for the sake of having better results, but you're streamlining your day and your relationships and your communication for the sake of having a better mental peace and well-being. Mercury will trine Jupiter in your 11th house on September 4th and September 25th. And that feels like perhaps you're also streamlining and organizing in order to have better friendships, or like working on improving your friendships, perhaps communicating more honestly, or maybe starting some kind of group projects or working with friends. So have a good time and let me know how it goes for you. If you are a Leo rising, Mercury is about to go retrograde in your 2nd house, making you look at money and values, right? So values, Mercury retrograde could just make you wonder, what is it that you are trying to do? Maybe initially feel a bit unsure, right? Uncertain. It's very professionally oriented for you because Mercury will be trining Jupiter in your 10th house on September 4th and September 25th. And so you're definitely looking at professional matters. And there can actually be good news, right? We have Mercury trining Jupiter 3 times. First time was August 9th, then September 4th, and then September 25th. And your professional history can be sort of told in 3 parts, right? Like maybe something was being first introduced, like a new job on August 9th, and then around the time of September 4th, Mercury is moving retrograde. Maybe you are sort of in the middle of the interview process, maybe there's some kind of delays, and then things speed up and you get the final good news, go ahead, and kind of good answer on the 25th when Mercury trines Jupiter again. But it's a lovely time to rethink your financial strategy, consult an advisor, start a savings plan, right? Watch out for making important financial decisions because it's possible that they will get reversed. Whenever Mercury goes retrograde in the second house, this is like you make a bunch of money and then suddenly you have to spend a bunch of money, or, you know, there might be like a reversal. You get paid for your car and then suddenly you have to pay for a dental bill or something. So ask the question, what's valuable, and then adjust your life and your finances in accordance to that. Just a quick sip. If you are a Virgo rising, Mercury is about to begin its retrograde in your first house, right? And it's trining Jupiter in the 9th on September 4th and September 25th. So your sense of self gets connected to your beliefs, to matters related to education. Maybe you're guiding other people. Maybe there is some kind of writing projects you're working on. Maybe you're thinking of traveling or starting a business that has to do with traveling. And the retrograde in the first house is asking you to rethink how you present yourself, to rethink your appearance, quite literally. This could be about, you know, asking whether you feel happy with your hairstyle or whether you feel happy with your skincare routine and needing to revise, improve, get rid of something, right? Like get rid of maybe things you spend money on that are not helping you. You may temporarily feel like stuck a little bit, right? Because that's what retrograde tends to be, especially maybe when it comes to those like education, travel, legal, writing, publishing matters. It's okay not to have all the answers. Remember, we do have Mercury and Venus retrograde at the same time between August 23rd and September 3rd. So it's normal to feel confused. Mercury is your chart ruler. So when your chart ruler goes retrograde, you feel like you don't quite know how to act. So take some time to revise a better strategy. Take some time to ask important questions. Do not force yourself to have all the answers, right? Instead, lean into self-care. Think about your plan. Come up with like a clear idea. Revise, re-edit, rethink, and believe that once Mercury goes direct on September 15th and then aspects Jupiter again on the 25th, things will speed up and you'll get more answers. If you are a Libra rising, Mercury is about to begin its retrograde in your 12th house. And here you are taking a close look at your mental health, at your protocols, at your boundaries. Do you have a good strategy or a good sort of self-care program when it comes to sleeping? When it comes to social media, do you stay up for a while and like text with people or watch a bunch of videos and then wake up feeling frustrated, get a headache, right? Like how can you improve or get rid of self-defeating tendencies? How can you bring more structure in taking care of your mental health? How can you organize your life better, right? But here you're dealing with like your blind spot and more hidden issues. You're maybe feeling more inclined to go to therapy and spend more time alone, spend more time meditating and connecting with yourself, reconnecting with yourself. Maybe healing, right? Mercury will trine Jupiter in your 8th house. You may also be addressing some kind of relationship matters, renegotiating contracts, rethinking how you deal with other people, rethinking how you relate to money. Especially, you know, if let's say you are in a relationship with someone and you're making more money than they're making, how do you handle those topics, right? Like, so maybe having to have some kind of uncomfortable conversations and look at the blind spot in terms of either healing it or bringing things out in the open is highly important here. And yeah, try to focus on spirituality, on imaginative projects, on meditation. If you feel lonely, if you feel alone, try to have fun with yourself, right? Like try to come up with activities that you've always enjoyed doing, and eventually this energy will clear and you will start to feel more confident and more secure within yourself. And then, you know, in no time, Mercury will be in Libra, your first house, and you will be ready to share with the world what you have learned and what you have kind of crystallized during this period. Let me know how this resonates if you've already been feeling this energy, because there's been a lot of action in your 12th house for a while. If you are a Scorpio rising, Mercury is about to go retrograde in your 11th house, and this could show up as friends coming back into your life, maybe some kind of conversations with your friends that you haven't been doing, having things that are important, maybe floating to the surface and needing to be discussed. There might be some drama with friends, right? Not even necessarily between you two, but a friend going through a difficult situation and you sort of finding yourself in a position where you don't know how to help them. Maybe you feel confused, maybe you feel uncertain about the relationship you have with them. Rethinking your dreams and rethinking your vision of the future is possible here, because 11th house represents our hopes and our wishes and our kind of role in the collective, I think, is likely. Perhaps the changes you're going through are inspired by changes in your relationship. Maybe you got pregnant and now your relationships are shifting in accordance to that. That is quite a possibility here. But do not rush to say goodbye to a relationship. Instead, try to be patient and kind with yourself and your friends. If you are a Sagittarius rising, Mercury is about to go retrograde in your 10th house of career, status, reputation. And professional matters can feel a bit confusing, right? There might be a need to examine what you're trying to achieve, what your goals are, what truly makes you feel like you are of service, because 10th house in Virgo really wants to help other people, right? Especially because Mercury will be trining Jupiter in your 6th house, the house of health, work, service, diet, exercise. And that is September 4th and September 25th. So here you're looking at what truly inspires, I think. You're looking at doing work that serves other people. You're rethinking, maybe you're reapplying for a job, maybe you're returning to a job, maybe you're sifting through some kind of work problems, right, and trying to navigate a challenging situation. Be patient. Be cautious, right? Do not force the answers. Try to meditate on things that are important for you. Try to ask yourself what makes you excited, right? What makes you feel happy? And once again, what makes you feel of service? What makes you feel most accomplished? And then trust then when Mercury goes retrograde after September 15th and trines Jupiter again on September 25th, the answers are likely to come knocking on your door. If you are a Capricorn rising, Mercury is about to go retrograde in your 9th house. So here you're looking at your beliefs. Not just beliefs, but beliefs connected to love, beliefs connected to children, beliefs connected to joy, as Mercury trines Jupiter in your 5th house on September 4th and September 25th. So examining beliefs, examining your life philosophy, and perhaps needing to readjust some things. Perhaps you used to believe that you should only have a child through like natural childbirth, but now you're becoming more open to the idea of surrogacy or adoption, right? And sort of rethinking your relationship to that. Perhaps romantically you're going through a transformation. Perhaps you are opening yourself up to traveling, or you're kind of changing your relationship to traveling. There might be with the retrograde and the ninth, there might be some legal matters you have to handle that are coming back and you thought you were done with them and like, no, you're not. Certain education topics, right? Needing to retake an exam or needing to reconnect with a teacher and mentor. You may be rewriting, redoing some kind of re-editing a project you've been working on. So deep questions, important topics. Let me know how this resonates down below. If you are an Aqua rising, Mercury is about to go retrograde in your 8th house. And here we're looking at the questions of fairness, especially fairness when it comes to home, family, and living situation, as Mercury trines Jupiter in your 4th house on September 4th and 25th. But of course, there will also be other topics connected to the 8th house, right? Like Mercury in the 8th can be the time when you're looking at your relationships with other people. You're looking at debts you have and you're trying to come up with a strategy to pay them off. Not the best time to make investments, get a mortgage, kind of commit to some kind of major financial undertaking, but could be a good time to develop a strategy, start paying things off. Like don't take on new debts, get rid of the old ones first. Or if you're planning to get in debt, right, like maybe hold off or be very thoughtful with the contracts you're signing. You may also be dealing with delays connected to debts, right? Like if you're in a process of getting a house, there might be some kind of problem with a mortgage or things taking longer. There might be some kind of problems and glitches you're addressing with an inheritance or investments you have with your partner, and just like needing to address questions of fairness. Like, do you feel like your relationships are fair? Do you feel like the way you invest and spend money or share time is fair? Do you feel appreciated, right? Like, and if you're not, this is your opportunity to have some conversations and to be honest with your partner and to talk things out in a vulnerable, truthful, and caring way. Let me know how this resonates down below. And now if you are a Pisces rising, Mercury is retrograding in your 7th house. 7th house deals with relationships, it deals with partnerships, it deals with contracts. So romantically, this of course could mean someone from the past knocking on your door, coming back into your life with a question, a concern, a desire for you, right? So be mindful, watch out for getting entangled in toxic relationships that are not good for you. Sometimes you need closure, so I can understand that, but beware, be aware that this is not always the best option. There might be certain relationship tests and challenges, confusion that maybe is maybe you're looking at the relationship and you're asking whether it serves you, whether it's long lasting, whether it has potential, or you're just needing to kind of rearrange things, right? Revisit, renegotiate the terms of your romantic relationship or your business partnership or some kind of contract you're signing, right? This doesn't have to be necessarily romantic. It could very much be about the terms of agreements you have with other people. Mercury does trine Jupiter on September 4th and then again on the 25th. Jupiter is in your 3rd house of communication, of writing, education, business. So it's not, like I said, doesn't have to be all about romance. It could just be about rethinking how you communicate, rethinking how you study or teach, and needing to come up with some kind of better, more clear structures and protocols, even coming up with structures in your relationship, right? Like, let's say you got a new job and you now need to really kind of commit to it and you don't have as much time to spend with your partner. So needing to be clear and talk to them and be like, I still love you very much, but I need to spend ABC days working on this because I want to have successful career so I can give you what you want, right? Let's say something like that. So that could be important for you. And this is all I have. Let me know how it resonated in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And do not fear the retrograde. It happens 3 or 4 times a year sometimes. You know, it's a very common phenomenon. Let's call it a phenomenon. And if you stay mindful, if you stay aware, you will deal with it and it will be easy and good. Okay, I will wrap it up. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.